I never thought Mom would be this cruel to me. I was sitting alone in the dark, shocked by what had just happened. My mom doesn't actually love me, a thought that kept repeating in my head. I don't know how I ended up like this. You see, growing up, it was just me and my mom. My dad was gone, and my mom raised me by herself. But her mood kinda shifted when I got into high school. To put it bluntly, my mom turned into a total nightmare. It didn't seem like I could do anything right with her. Our home was like a dictatorship. So there I sat, alone, in the cold, dark basement, lit with a dim floor lamp, crying a river of tears. I screamed and begged for my mother to let me out, but she had completely ignored me. I tried more than once to wipe my tears away, to move on, and to get myself back together, but no luck. I started throwing and breaking every object in my way just to catch her attention, but she still didn't bother. At that moment, I felt completely abandoned. The thing is, my mom is so obsessed with my grades. They had to be the top of the class or I was getting punished. Even a B+ wasn't enough for her, which by the way got me grounded once for a whole 4 weeks. It was like I was living in a prison. But the breaking point was when my grades came in for the current semester. My mom was furious at how low they were. She yelled at me for what seemed like hours about how she was very disappointed in me. Now, you would think that this righteous fury would be because of F's and D's covering the page, right? No, she got so angry with me because she saw a C-. Can you believe that? Because I couldn't. This time I couldn't let it go. We went back and forth, yelling at the top of our lungs to the point where it felt like the house was shaking. For the next couple of days, we basically ignored each other like two strangers. I thought that she would just move on from our argument, but my mom took it a step further. One day after I came home from school and went up to my room, I was shocked to see that my stuff was missing. Was she kicking me out of the house? When I saw her, she coldly got up from her seat and told me to follow her and said that I should go down in the basement. I was confused, but I did what she asked for. My mom had moved all of my stuff into the basement, me in the eyes and said, "Well, if you want your space, now you have it." Then she walked right back up the stairs and shut the basement door. I screamed at her that she couldn't be serious, but she just ignored me. The basement was cold and dark. There was no light except for the floor lamp I had. If I'm being honest, that didn't light up much of anything. I couldn't believe how cruel she was being. I mean, who does something like that? And that's when I really started panicking. I wanted to smash the door and go confront her, but she had locked it. I screamed, but with no response back. I sat down on the cold floor, crying for hours, hoping she'd actually have some mercy in her heart, but she never unlocked the door. Can you believe how horrible she is? Hours passed by, and I had fallen asleep at some point. When I woke up, I didn't know what time it was, but I could see some light coming through the small basement window. Was it morning already? It wasn't that dark anymore in the basement. I took a look around, and the space didn't actually look that bad. It was more room in the basement than there was in my own room. And there was a fridge, TV, even an Xbox in here. Quickly, I made myself comfortable, and I started to organize the place to make it cozier. 2 hours after, I heard my mom opening the basement door and shouting, "Time to go to school!" She must be joking! I quickly went up the stairs and said, "Okay, Mom." And when she let go of the door key, I quickly snatched it and closed the door shut. And I locked it from the inside. "I am not leaving the basement, Mom. This is what you asked for." I screamed. Mom, of course, started shouting from behind the door, claiming she'll ground me forever if I don't leave the basement. However, I decided to ignore her just like she did the day before. And I even turned on loud music. For the next couple of days, I stayed in the basement, and with my newfound freedom, I was able to do anything I wanted. I watched TV for hours. I ate all the candy I wanted, and I didn't even go to school. The best part of it was Mom was no longer on my case about every little grade, which meant that I didn't have to worry about any more schoolwork. 2 days later, I decided that I was going to school. So I got up early, locked the basement door after me, and I went on my way. Easy peasy. But then The bubble popped. First, it was my cell phone. When I tried to make a phone call, it told me that I went over my minutes and cut me off. I didn't know what was going on, so I went to ask my mom. She told me that she dropped my plan all the way down to the minimum coverage plan. I was angry, but I didn't want her to see it, so I just let it go. After all, I still had my laptop. However, the hits didn't stop there. Next, it was my grades. By spending so much time in the basement, my grades dropped to the lowest they had ever been. The next time I received my report card, I saw a long list of D's and some F's. Never had my grades dropped that low before. It got so bad that I was called into the principal's office the next day. She told me that my grades had fallen to a point where it looked like I would have to repeat the grade again next year. I was devastated. My only hope was to spend the majority of my time studying for the next couple of weeks for makeup exams. I hoped that my friends would help me out with my assignments, but most of them refused to help a lazy brat. Wow, okay, I guess that my friends not respecting my choices meant that they weren't my friends anymore. Even when I tried to explain my problems to them and how I needed to get some help with studying, they laughed. So, like that, my life started falling apart. I was losing my high achievement status at school, and my social life became non-existent. I curled up on my bed in the basement, cold and in the dark, crying my heart out. I didn't know what to do or who to blame, so I did the only thing I could do, and that was to blame my mom. All of my problems seemed to have started from when she sent me down to the basement. It may not have been fair to her, but at the time, I didn't care how fair it was. For the next couple of days, after coming up with a place for my blame, I completely ignored my mom. I didn't respond to her when I saw her around the house, and I didn't answer her phone calls when she tried to call me. As far as I was concerned, I was happy to act like she didn't exist. About a week later, I got called down to the principal's office again. I thought they wanted to talk to me about my grades, but I was wrong. Apparently, my mom had asked them to send me to counseling because I was having issues. I felt my world shatter. I was so angry about how she did this behind my back. When school was finally over, I decided that I was about to let everything out when I got home to my mother. But when I got home, she wasn't there. Where was she? And on top of that, the basement door was damaged. What the hell? I quickly unblocked her from my contacts and called her. I wanted to know what the heck was happening. That's when my mom told me that there was an accident and that she had been rushed to the hospital. Oh my gosh! Making it to the hospital didn't even register with me. When I arrived, I rushed to see my mom. She looked so tired, with dry tears on her face. I could feel my heartache just by looking at her. When she saw me coming into the room, she welcomed me over with a smile. I sat beside her on the bed and held her hand tight. It was surreal. It felt like a dream, or more like a nightmare. My mom reached up with her free hand and wiped the tears that I didn't know were falling from my eyes. Before I could even ask what was wrong, she shook her head softly and told me how sorry she was. She had a breakdown not too long ago when she got the diagnosis of her mental illness. She was suffering from severe OCD and was showing symptoms of borderline personality disorder. She didn't know how to tell me and was ashamed. Today, she had an episode at home where she went into a panic attack and she destroyed the basement door and hurt herself. Seeing my mom lay there, fighting back the tears in her own eyes as she looked up at me, I didn't care about anything that had happened previously between us. All I wanted to know was, will she be okay? I didn't want to lose her. I thought back to everything that had happened to me after she gave me my space, and I realized how horrible everything turned out for me with her no longer in my life. My friends weren't really my friends. My grades were slipping to a point of no return, and life in general just felt hopeless. I can't deny the fact that we had our hard times, but I love my mom, and I wanted her to be okay. Since then, things have changed between us. We started counseling to repair our relationship and create a better line of communication between the both of us. And I'm happy to say that it's working. Did you like my story? Please share your thoughts with me in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.